President Trump threatening tech giant Apple with 25% duties on overseas-made iPhones. Trump saying on a Truth Social post that he expects Apple's iPhones to, quote, be manufactured and built in the United States, not India or anyplace else. But it's now only Apple that faces this tariff threat. The president sharing further details in a press conference earlier this afternoon.
It would be more. It would be also Samsung and anybody that makes that product. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair. So anybody that makes that product, and that'll start on, I guess, the end of June. It'll come out. I think we have that appropriately done by the end of June. So if they make that product. Now, again, when they build their plant here, there's no tariff. So they're going to be building plants here. But I had an understanding with him that he wouldn't be doing this. He said he's going to India to build plants. I said, that's okay to go to India, but you're not going to sell into here without tariffs.
Well, here with more now is Cory Johnson, Epistrophy Capital Research Chief Market Strategist and host of the Drill Down podcast. Cory, my friend, always great to see you. So let's just dig right into this news, Cory. So Trump going right after Apple. He's threatening Apple with this 25% levy if they don't move iPhone manufacturing here to the United States. You saw that headline, Cory. Give us your take. What did you make of it?
Well, you guys have covered this quite well. I mean, the notion that it's as easy as putting up a factory and building it here just isn't the truth. It's not how it works. But I spent a lot of time today working on let's work through some of these ideas and why does it cost? Why, there's been all this speculation, maybe a $3,500, $4,000 iPhone. Do you want an Indian or Chinese iPhone that costs $1,000 or the same thing in the US that would cost $4,000? And what would it look like? What would it take to do that? And, the biggest reason obviously is labor. A Chinese worker might make $4 to $5 an hour. An Indian worker might make $4 an hour. A U.S. worker is going to make $20 to $30 an hour. At least that's what they make in a factory job right now. To forget the highly skilled jobs that would be required. We also don't have a workforce that's been trained to do these things, whereas the workforce is in China, well, even India. So Apple's been working with Foxconn to develop an ecosystem since 2017 to build phones in India. They're just expanding that, responding to the tariff regime, but maybe not responding at the speed of a tweet.
Well, and I guess then the question becomes, Cory, it's Julie, it's good to see you. What Apple does about this, right? Because Tim Cook has been trying to, I won't use the words cozy up, but he's certainly tried to make nice with President Trump in various ways. He has talked about—
you mean the $1 million contribution to the inauguration committee like that?
Well, and the pledges of future manufacturing in the U.S., right? So, but that obviously hasn't done the trick. So, I mean, what does do the trick in this case?
Who knows? I mean, this does seem to be a policy on a whim. I've been chatting today with conservative friends who support President Trump, trying to see their take on this. And the instant response I got was jobs, jobs, jobs. We want jobs. And I pressed them to think about that. Like, what does that look like? One of the reasons the iPhone is the cost that it is. I won't call something costs $1,000 cheap, although what it does is kind of amazing. But the reason the iPhone is so cheap is because the systems around it have been built for such a long time. The component supply chains that are built right around the factories where the devices are made. This requires long-term economic planning, both by government and by industry and by the supporting industries, right? The Foxconn plants that are built to build the devices from Apple. The semiconductor plants that are in a range surrounding these such that nothing is more than 50 miles apart or something. That takes a lot of planning and a lot of time. And so how does a company respond to these policy by tweet? And it might be to just stall and to just deal with it for a while, because the next administration in 4 years, whether it's Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance or fill in the blank of AOC or whatever you might imagine in our future as a president, is probably going to have some more long-term planning aspects to it, such that we don't have these kinds of shocks. And so maybe the companies just try to kick the can down the road for a while.
There was another big headline this week, Cory, involving Apple, and I'm curious to get your take on it too, which is we had OpenAI buying Johnny Ive's startup for a big price tag. And I'm curious, one, what you made of that headline, that news, and two, in your opinion, is that another worry for Apple investors?
mean, competition is always a worry for any technology company because it comes on real quick. I mean, I don't think we should look at this as an acquisition. We should look at this as an acqui-hire, right? They wanted to get Johnny Ives, and they're willing to pay billions in cash and stock, and we don't know what that is. It looks like exactly to get him. It's kind of an amazing number, but it's going to, result in sort of what the ultimate value and the ability to cash out that value is for Johnny Ives, right? If the company tanks, and he's got $6 billion of once worthwhile stock, which is not going to be worth something in the future. It's not worth much. But, Apple has spent over $180 billion by my count in the last 10 years on R&D, and I don't know what they've got for that, really. I mean, we know they spent a lot of money moving towards an automobile that they decided to walk away from, and maybe that was a good decision to not make it and follow good money with bad. But fundamentally, the greatest developments we've seen in technology in the last 5 or 10 years have not come from that $180 billion or so spent on R&D from Apple. And I think that that's a concern for that company to sort of see what the next big thing is. I mean, they've got terrific stuff that in multi-billion-dollar businesses they don't get credit for, right? My watch, and I'm wearing my AirPods. You see they've got the CJ on there? I thought you guys maybe can't really see it with the light, but in any case, they've done some incredible things. But I don't think that they've had the super incredible things like the invention of the iPhone or like the amazing things we've seen with ChatGPT or we've seen in other industries or even in the technology industry. And innovation in some ways, despite over $100 billion spent, has left them by the wayside.
Yeah, and Cory, so how should investors, do you think, be thinking about Apple at this point? I mean, in some ways, one could argue it has utility-like characteristics, right? Because it does have, you pay your phone bill every month, though you don't pay it directly to Apple, right? You pay the phone company that got the phones from Apple. But point being, it's sort of something that is baked into your life rather than this amazing, transformative product.
Well, so the iPhone is amazing and transformative, and it's been around for a minute, so we tend to overlook the incredible things it can do and what's happening with the apps that make it more and more incredible day by day. But I think that from an investor standpoint, if you've got a company that's sitting on a Berkshire Hathaway-like pile of cash, but doesn't step into the market to do Berkshire-like acquisitions, and there's good reasons, maybe that's a good thing even, that they don't have that kind of dominance and monopolistic power that other companies like Meta and Alphabet have been charged with pursuing. But I think that, with that pile of cash, what are they going to do with it for investors? Can they step up buybacks to add to shareholder value? Can they increase dividends? Or I don't think acquisitions are really, giant acquisitions are open to them. And the company in some ways, the balance sheet still looks like a reaction to the near-death experience of Apple from a generation or 2 generations ago. And maybe that's not necessary.
Maybe not. All right, Cory, thank you so much. It's great to see you as always.
It's good to see you guys.